This is going to be a look at some 49ers offense film, and I'm going to be honest with you, this is a quite surface level video. I think I only have 10 or 11 plays queued up. I probably have, I'd say, the better part of 30 possessions from the 49ers saved, either in my database or just saved on a hard drive from 2022. And I have all three quarterbacks utilized during that time. And I just, I haven't had time yet to kind of navigate the differences between Jimmy Garoppolo, Brock Purdy, and how they're being utilized. Obviously, Trey Lance got hurt, early in the season. But the interesting thing to me is how simple some of the concepts are that they run that really hit people big. I'm talking about big plays. How simple they seem to execute that in terms of being able to be executed by the quarterback or by the tight ends, the running backs, the receivers. I think Deebo Samuel at 100% with this team. They're a far more dangerous team in the playoffs than people give them credit for. I understand that some of their recent wins are not against great teams, but since Brock Purdy has become the starter, since he's in this 5-game winning streak with him as the guy in charge, just put it that way, they beat Miami by 16 points. They beat Tampa Bay by 28. They beat Seattle by 8. Yeah, they just struggled with the Raiders, no doubt. Offensively, they were impressive, but defensively, they gave up 34, so that's concerning, especially for a team that prides itself on defense. But you have to go all the way back to Week 7, where they got blown out by Kansas City at home and gave up 44, for them to have given up more than 20 points. They gave up 20 to Washington in Week 6. They gave up 34 to Las Vegas in Week 17. So it's not like the defense has given up a ton of points. Meanwhile, in that 5-game stretch with Brock Purdy as the guy in charge under center, they're scoring 32.6 points per game in those 5 games. I'm going to show you, I think, 10 plays and how simple, elegant, and violent this offense is, and how, to be honest with you, a lot of the concepts are quite old school. This is a play that I know as down. Now, it can be run with the fullback in terms of the guy getting the football. It can be run with the halfback getting the football. It's an off-tackle play to a 3-man surface, meaning guard, tackle, tight end, so 3 players lined up on one side. And what you're typically getting is, down, and then the front side or play side guard pulling and kicking out the edge defender, which in this case is Max Crosby. So we'll run it a couple of times so you can get the idea of why it's called down. You can see the right guard pulling. Crosby is mistakenly trying to make the play himself here instead of just condensing the gap. So he's a playmaker, and he's made a lot of plays this year. Great athlete. But in this case, this is the conflict I think that the 49ers present. A lot of high-level defensive guys is you want to make the play. It's not your job to make the tackle here if you're Max Crosby. It's your job to condense that block, knock it inside, and force the hole to be constricted. Now, when I talk about I'll talk about this play a little bit more later on from the end zone angle as we get it. It's a beautiful concept. Yes, it's about Christian McCaffrey, but look at the timing that the fullback has to master. He's got to go quick to get out of the quarterback's way, and then slow to not run into the back of the pulling guard. And when you get the end zone angle later, you'll see what I'm talking about. Just look at the speed of the fullback. See him kind of hesitate, and then watch the incredible effort by this tight end number 81 who just fell down, and then the fullback who's leading Christian McCaffrey off tackle. Yeah, McCaffrey's insertion to this roster has clearly given them a boost. A healthy Deebo Samuel, and how that is. I think he has 5 touchdown catches in that time. Maybe it's 4. But one of the things that always interests me is when you see teams avoid certain players, in this case Tariq Woolen, and then you see other teams, I think, intentionally attack him. They gave him this read 3 times on film that I have, meaning number 1 going in, the tightly aligned receiver, and then someone else running like a slot fade, essentially, or smash, if you will. And in all 3 cases, Tariq Woolen goes with the number 1 receiver. The 49ers knew something. So what I mean is this receiver right here is running a shorter route. Here's Tariq Woolen, the corner. You've simultaneously got McCaffrey, the tailback, and the fullback going out into the flats. So they're pulling a nickel defender out with them, clearing out all this space up here for George Kittle to run onto. It's a beautiful job. It's a very simple play. Now, you'd only have Fullen's fault I'm saying I think the 49ers understood the coverage they were probably going to get with that formation, and they designed plays to attack it. I think they have base plays, obviously. They have base ways to attack defenses, but I also think they navigate every week specific things to attack. So here's another example. Here's Tariq Woolen up here. Now, this is not a big play, mind you, but check out the route by the number one receiver and then Woolen's reaction to it. So he's pressing vertical, and they're getting Woolen assigned to that player. They're getting Woolen assigned to the number one receiver. It makes sense, right? He was the only wide receiver out there. The fullback and McCaffrey, the tailback, are going out into the flats, or they're outside releasing, let's put it that way. So they're basically clearing Woolen out of this read now with a somewhat similar concept, even though this route is deeper than the previous route that I showed you that I really just think was bait. McCaffrey's just going to settle into the space as they force this defender to widen horizontally with the fullback. It's an easy completion. Great catch by McCaffrey, don't get me wrong, on a 2nd and 10 to pick up a first down. I think that they attack teams specifically. I think their preparation is exquisite. Yeah, they're making the game simple for Brock Purdy in some ways, but I think the teaching that goes on in their meeting rooms, on their practice field, with their film work, however their film work is organized and presented to the players, has to be at an extremely high level in order for multiple quarterbacks to execute at the level that they do. All right, one of the neatest plays that I always see, and you don't see it that often every year. And like as a Ravens content creator, like I never see shit like this for real. The fake screen to one side, and then you're going to come back with the fake screen to the other side to McCaffrey, who of course is going to draw a lot of attention. And you can see certain defenders have initially reacted to the primary screen, or the initial screen, I should say. Certain defenders have reacted to the second attempt at a screen, or the second fake screen, and then it just opens up the middle of the field for George Kittle. Seattle has a young, talented, fast defense. I think that the 49ers expertly attack them, and they're not the only ones. Because look at the design that you've got here. You've got a pulling lineman moving out here to basically front up for McCaffrey, which is a concept that they use. I'm actually going to show you one of those plays here in a couple minutes, to basically be more eye candy for any second level or even third level players who see that lineman pulling out there and then start to react to it too late. And I don't think the outside routes, the outside receivers routes up at the top of the screen or the bottom are actual options for Brock Purdy at all. In my opinion, their outside release goes to get the corners' backs turned so that they are unable to make any play or react anything to the middle of the field if they have a high level of awareness, or prevent a touchdown in this case. Super, super well-designed plays, simple for, multiple guys to execute. This is that down play that I talked about again. They're running another aspect of the 49ers offense that I like. They are willing to run to the boundary. In fact, they're committed to running to the boundary and forcing you as a defense to account for it. Why? Because running to the boundary sets up the play action boot to the field. And you'll see an example of that here in a minute. It's just wing T football. I got bad news for people that these are not wing T plays necessarily, but conceptually we're talking about sequence-based football, series-based football, where you have one outside run play or off-tackle run to one side and a play action to the other. That is buck sweep and power and waggle back to the other side. That's what that is. All right, so this is the formation. You've got an offset tight end, or Y. So the scheme is a down scheme, a pull, and a kick. And also the 49ers are really great at using condensed split receivers to block strong safeties or inside linebackers. In this case, they run him off. Look at the effort that you get by the fullback and the tight end. Tight end falls down and then goes and gets the frontside inside linebacker. I've also noticed this too. I'm not sure what this dynamic is. D tackles do this often against the 49ers. They're like getting upfield, and the run plays away from them, really not doing a good job of following their key, which should be the guard in this case, if you ask me. Check out the move by the 3 technique. In my opinion, he should be following the pulling guard. It's like the fifth time that I've seen that this year, where a three technique is so worried about getting scooped by this tackle that instead of moving, laterally with his key, which I think should be the guard, whatever part of the guard's body he's keying, feet, hip, whatever, that they end up getting upfield so they don't get scooped and basically taking themselves out of the play. I have also seen McCaffrey cut this thing back before, not on this exact play concept, but look, it's a great play down, great job of blocking, simple, very simple, but well executed. They run to the boundary a lot. Like I said, they'll run away from the tight end. Look at the effort. This is a touchdown run by the backup running back. It's a beautiful run. Look at the effort by the tight end here. Again, Max Crosby's lined up in this like 7 technique, 6-eye, whatever you want to call it, and getting just cut. I mean, getting cut down on the backside and really not at all, having any awareness that he could get cut. I'm not sure what type of film study they do on the defensive side, but look at the effort by 44, the fullback, the receiver, 11. I think that's Brandon Ayuk, if I said his name right. And then I think the left guard here. Great effort, great blocking team. It seems like whoever they plug in there blocks. So I don't know what that dynamic is. Under center, really effective, and I think they're great at attacking one high structure teams with this boot stuff. I'm not sure what they look for in terms of when to call the boot against one high safety structure or 2 high safety structure, but you'll be able to see you've got an 8-man front here, which doesn't necessarily mean – a lot of times people refer to 8-man front as like the answer to stopping the run. In a lot of cases, actually, a 7-man front is better, as the run fits are more declared, and it provides the safeties quicker reads to be able to come downhill. But in any case, they got a 1 high safety structure. No one is going to account for Kittle coming across here. The free safety whose helmet you really kind of barely see right here is not reading that key at all. It looks like he's kind of looking in the backfield to me. And you've got 2 guys running across the screen. It's a Z receiver, number 15. Who's off screen to our left. The offense is right. So he's going to run the deeper route across here. And then Kittles is going to run the shallow route. But watch his release. Me personally, like I would want my tight end, if it's a 3x1 set, tight end trips or tight end wing trips, looking at one of those tight ends or both, trying to figure out, is it a run block? Is it a pass block? Should someone run across with him and take this? And certainly you got a backside corner who never shows up. But in any case, a long touchdown, no one assigned to boot. I feel like the 49ers are modern and old school at the same time. I'm not sure how to explain that. I haven't done enough. I think, like I said, I think I have about 30 possessions saved this year for their offense. Their answers are so simple, and they're so good. Oh, so one-man screen, basically. I guess the guard is getting out here. Along with the center, typical where they're not letting the tackle get out here. The tackle is pass setting to influence the edge rusher to pass rush. It's kind of a standard way of running the screen. The left guard ends up being the only guy that gets out here, but the center is there as well for the second level. Their answers are not complicated. If you're going to run man, and they're going to have the safety assigned to the back, I believe some of these plays like this one are auto checks into the boundary. Well, this is to the field, actually. But I believe some of these plays are auto checks. I'm not sure how to prove that because I don't watch enough 49ers film to do so. But nothing here looks super complicated in a lot of these big plays. You do have to be able to make plays, though. Don't get me wrong. You have to be able to make throws. This is a Tampa 2. Washington is trying to trick the quarterback into not recognizing it. I'm going to show you what they're doing. So you got what looks like a 1 high safety structure. He's going to drop down. And then too late, he's going to move back, and he's going to be the guy who's running the pipe, but between the hashes in the Tampa 2. This nickel safety, I guess, is going to be the flat defender. This guy's going to roll back and be one of the half-field defenders, and then you've got another half-field defender here. So it's basically like an invert cover 2, where you have the safety kind of stepping up to be the Mike linebacker. He just sees it way too late. Quarterback reads him, recognizes he's beat by 7 yards. Not sure what the safety's looking at here. He's certainly not looking at either of the slot receivers, the guys who could challenge him and threaten him vertically. And I think I think the quarterback at this point has confirmed that he doesn't have any kind of help at all, so he's just going to throw the thing over the top. You got to be able to make plays as a quarterback. Everything's not going to be schemed up for you. Everything's not going to be, happen perfect in the game the way that it does in practice. 3-man rush here by the Raiders. Unbelievable throw by Purdy. Great catch by Kittle, running across the back of the end zone. Look, I don't think that you can just put any quarterback and any player in their system and they're going to be a Pro Bowler. They're going to get to the Super Bowl. It does kind of seem like that sometimes. They seem to be able to just plug and play. You tell me in the comment section if you have the same perception. I haven't watched all 30 possessions that I have saved. I kind of can't wait to do so, to be honest with you, to learn more about their offense myself and see about some of the patterns or some of the consistent themes that they utilize. Everything to me looks very familiar as a high school coach in terms of sequence-based football, threatening you to one side with a run play, having a natural complementary play action built off of it, and being creative and physical as hell when you execute it. Let me know if you watch more 49ers games than I do. I watch zero during the course of the season because pretty much everything I do is focused on the Ravens and the Ravens' opponents. And, so I'm doing some Lions stuff lately and watching a lot of their film. But it's an interesting offense, and it really kind of makes you jealous as a Ravens fan for real to see some of the ways they build plays and sequences of plays that just to me is good old classic football, whether you're in 21 personnel, 12 personnel, 11, 13, whatever the hell personnel grouping you're in, you got to build plays off of one another. And Shanahan and the 49ers just seem like naturals in doing so, and I think it helps their players in terms of throwing, catching, running, and I think it helps their players the most in blocking by creating predictable, simple angles for them to utilize and complementary plays that punish defenses who overcompensate. Appreciate you guys' time. Let me know what you think of this surface-level examination of the 49ers offense.